Timberland boots. More quality than you may ever need. Tested by the most unforgiving judge of all.
More than 1,000 of the most treacherous miles known to man or dog. Yet throughout the past decade, over half of the top 5 finishing teams were fed Eukanuba dog food. The best you can do for your dog. Made by the Imes Company. For a free Eukanuba dog food sample, call 1-800-932-PETS.
Four-time champion Susan Butcher looking for victory number 5 in Iditarod at 91. And of course, there's another 4-time champion, Rick Swenson. He too is looking for his 5th victory. Will it come in this race? Well, this is where the race sort of begins. It's the restart from Wasilla. Hi again, everybody. I'm Ken Garland, along with Rich Levine and Bobby Lee. We're also being joined by Chuck Talski this afternoon. And this is the restart. And it's a little different format, as we explained earlier if you were with us for our live coverage of the start from downtown Anchorage. The mushers leaving here in the times that they came into Eagle River. And Bobby, I'm going to let you explain this because you do it a little better than I do. But basically what it comes down to is that we could have one team leaving literally right after another.
Correct. They'll leave at whatever order and time that they finish at Eagle River. So whatever time they made up on their 2-minute starting differential on the run from Anchorage to Eagle River is how they'll leave out of here. If they were 10 seconds behind each other at Eagle River, that's how they'll restart here.
So it's a little more exciting this way, to say the least. And we've got Levine Barvey, who is the first one in Eagle River. That really, I don't think is much of a surprise, is it?
No, I suspect not. I think Levine made the announcement the other night that that Dodge truck was going to be his, and looks like he's got that in mind.
The Dodge Dash is what they're calling it, from here to Squintna, which is about 150 miles up the trail from Anchorage. It basically is it the 3rd checkpoint?
Essentially, it's the 3rd checkpoint.
Okay, and it's the Dodge Dash. What it is a Dodge Dakota that is going to be given away, a $15,000 vehicle, and there's nothing else like the Dodge Dakota. It's a true mid-sized vehicle. It's like the Iditarod, nothing else like it. And the keys will be turned over to the first musher who arrives in Squintna probably sometime early Sunday morning, tomorrow morning.
I would imagine it will be. With the way the sun has come out now and the heat here, I think people are going to take it easy for this first few hours out of here. But as the sun comes down and it cools off, I think the race for Squintna will really increase. The pace will pick up. The dogs will feel better. The mushers will feel more like moving instead of riding the brake.
Well, as we mentioned, Chuck Talski is with us this afternoon, and we can go to him right now. Chuck?
We're pretty much in the pit area, Ken, and here's what you can expect. I just talked to Levine Barvey. He's back there with his dogs. He's making sure that every last one of them had something to drink and made it all work. He tells me, and this is the first quote we have from a musher, he leaves at 3:34 and some seconds out here from Wasilla, and he's going to head that way to Nome. Actually, he's heading to Dakota country first. He tells me that he should make it to Squintna in about 10 hours. That's what he believes. So about 10 hours from 3:30, you can expect someone to go ahead and pick up a Dodge Dakota 4x4, and could very well be Levine Barvey, because the next musher leaves about 3.5 minutes or so after him. We'll find out as soon as they start lining up in this chute in just a few moments. Back to you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you. And again, Levine Barvey going out first. Pat Danley will be that next musher. And what we'll do is we'll give you an idea. We'll run it down for you of exactly how they came into Eagle River. We'll bring the whole thing into perspective. But first, we're going to take a short time out. And we'll be back with our exclusive live coverage of the restart of the Iditarod sled dog race. We'll be back after this along the Alaska Television Network.
About this.
Hit the cluster. There you go.
Well, that's the scene here at Wasilla. We are on the airport, and actually there was a lot of concern about what kind of condition the trail would be in here. And Rich, as I look down at it, it doesn't look too bad. It is not the glare ice that we expected to see.
No, definitely not, Ken. And obviously the committee and all the volunteers have done a great job to get the trail here in Wasilla in good shape.
It's a little rough, Bobby, but I don't think it'll be a major problem.
In the past 3 days, the And it's smoothed out, and it actually looks like it's going to be a great stretch of trail from here to connect. Once they get out across the highway from this airport here at the Wasilla restart, then they'll be on packed snow machine trail, very similar to what they were driving on from Anchorage to Eagle River.
Well, we were talking about the order in which they would be leaving, and you know by now that Levine Barbie will be going out first. He goes out at 3:34. Now, what this is 4 hours added to the time in which the musher arrived in Eagle River. Pat Danley will go out second. Danley at 3:44, approximately 10 minutes behind Barbie, and then Joe Runyon will go out third at 3:46. After that, it's John Barron, Ray Monk, Brian Stafford, Frank Teasley, and Joe Garney. Then Rick Swenson goes out. So Swenson will be going out 9th, and then Steve Fawcett will be the 10th one. So that's just a quick briefing of the top 10 at least. And the time's very close. Barbie 3:34, and then 10 seconds behind, or 10 minutes behind that is Danley, and then just 2 minutes behind that is Joe Runyon.
Right, it is kind of close. It looks like there's going to be actually a great race in this first stretch to Squentna. Pat Danley is someone that people don't know a lot about. She's raced the Iditarod several times. She's always been what she called the middle of the packer. She told me this fall, Bobby, I'm tired of being in the middle of the pack. I'm ready to show what I can do. And indeed she has. Her race history this year shows at the Cache Creek Classic, she defeated Dave Allen by approximately 10 minutes in a 50-mile run the second day of that race. And Dave Allen's the guy that beat Levine Barbie in the Connect 200-mile race and set the record in the process of it. So Pat has quite a good team. She's demonstrated it this year. And I find it quite interesting that there's Levine Barbie, Pat Danley, Joe Runyon, John Barron, another top finisher, all up at the front getting ready to race towards Squentna. Followed not very far behind by top teams like Joe Garney, Rick Swenson. I predict it's going to be quite an evening for these folks.
Well, Levine Barbie, the first man out here from Wasilla, and we had a chance to talk with him a little bit earlier, and he feels that the 1991 Iditarod has a very highly competitive field.
So I told a couple of those guys that asked me if I was going to push ahead. I said, well, no, I'm not going to do that. But if they only got a half a dog team, you know, then I might go a little further. But I mean, there's a lot of good dog teams out there. There ain't nobody going to run away with this race.
So Levine Barbie, summing it up very nicely, nobody is going to run away with this race. And now, Bobby, you were looking at his time. We heard what Chuck said. He had a chance to talk to Levine about how long he thought it would take him to get into Squentna. And you thought, just from looking at his times, that he might be going for that Dodge truck.
I think it's very much on his mind. He's been a past winner of this Connect 200-mile race, previous record holder. He likes this run to Squentna. It's his home training area. His dogs are familiar with it. He's very familiar with it. I think he'd like to own that new truck.
Well, of course, we're in Wasilla, and this is his hometown. He's got a print shop out here, and indeed, the dogs know where they are, and of course, the fans know Levine Barbie.
Right, and he actually opened up a considerable lead on the run from Anchorage to Eagle River. From what I can tell at this point, he had one of the faster times, if not the fastest time. Definitely had the fastest time of the front 7.
All right, Chuck Telsky standing by, and he is with Jim Yetter from the Dodge Corporation. Let's go to Chuck.
Jim is the merchandising manager, Dodge Truck Division. Welcome to Alaska, Jim. It's good to see you. I want to ask you a question. The way we're doing things with the Dodge trucks, the way Dodge has become involved this year as a major sponsor of the Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race, is very unique because the vehicles that are prizes are unique in themselves. Dodge Dakota Sport, the only true midsize that's made, and a Dodge Diesel. We happen to be standing in the beds of the trucks right now. Similar trucks that will be given away. One of them, from what Levine Barbie says, in probably 10 hours or so. How does Dodge feel about this whole thing?
Oh, we feel great about it. This is our first experience up here in Alaska with the race, and it's proving to be a real winner for us. We've got both trucks, the full-size Cummins diesel that we're giving away at the end of the race, and we've got the Dodge Dakota Sport 4x4 of the year we're giving away at Squentna, and it's proving to be a very popular event for the mushers.
And we're calling it the Dodge Dash, are you not?
Yes, we are. Calling it the Dodge Dash. We came up with the idea to try to generate more excitement earlier in the race and to give a lot of mushers an opportunity to win a big prize, and it's working out great.
I remember some years ago being the live announcer right here at the restart, and some of the mushers wouldn't even make their starting time. They're a little nonchalant about it. I don't think that will happen with a $15,000 prize maybe 10 hours or less away, Jim. I think that's going to add to the excitement of the early on part of the race. At least 20 or 30 mushers should have a chance at it. And then at the end, there's a different kind of truck, a Dodge Cummins turbocharged diesel. So a turbocharged team conceivably could win both trucks and the race and wind up with what, $85,000 in prize money?
Oh, they sure could. They could come away a big winner, and I think they'd all like to do that.
Absolutely. So we'll see a lot of teams looking to go ahead and catch a ride with the Dodge team and the Dodge Dash. That'll be happening for the first 150 miles of the race, but only about 10 hours from here, from what Levine Barvey says. Thank you, Jim Yetter. We'll be in Squentin to give the truck away, won't we?
Yes, I will. I'll see you there.
Sounds great. Up the trail soon. Back to you, Ken.
All right, thanks very much, Chuck. And we want to talk a little bit about Frank Teasley, a little bit more about him. And he's another musher in the field that will be leaving here. And, of course, in the restart from Wasilla, and he's going to be leaving 7th. And Frank Teasley is a man we had a chance to talk to as well, who said that out there on the trail, there's nothing that's going to get him down.
My motto in this race is to see the humor in anything and everything that happens out there. That way, there's so many things that are going to happen in this next 2 weeks. The dogs, the only thing they can count on is me, so I'm going to just stay the same.
Well, that's a good attitude. That's what you like to hear. Nothing at all, no matter what happens out there. You've got to expect the unexpected on the Iditarod Trail, and here's Teasley saying, that's fine, I'm ready for it. Can you really be ready for the unexpected? Come on, you're a former musher, Bobby Lee. Tell me, what's it really like out there?
I think you have to expect the unexpected. There's just so many variables that can happen in this race. There's so much that can interfere with you, both in terms of weather, moose, animals, snow machines, traffic. You have to be prepared for the unexpected. And the best thing you can do is just have a positive attitude. Deal with whatever comes on. In 1986, when I ran the race, I even ran through a forest fire.
A forest
fire. We actually ran through black and ground in the forest fire, and it was kind of a giggle. Actually, the people I was traveling with, we rolled on the ground with laughter after everything else we'd encountered. It was just kind of fitting that there would be a forest fire.
Perseverance.
There'd been an accident in the Roan River in the Burn area, and they'd sent flares up for a helicopter, and it caught the grass on fire, and sure enough, right burning across the trail for about a half-a-mile area, there was a forest fire.
All right, well, you mentioned weather, and we're going to talk more about that. It's a little different here in Wasilla than it was in downtown Anchorage, and it may be a little different up the trail. We'll be back to talk about weather, and when we continue with our exclusive live coverage of the Iditarod restart here from Wasilla along the Alaska Television Network. Well, it is warmer here in Wasilla. As you can see, there's a lot more sunshine. Of course, we started earlier in the day in Anchorage, and that, of course, makes a difference. The sun now a little higher in the sky. And, Bobby, let me, well, first of all, while we're talking about being high in the sky, why don't we take a look at what's happened to give you an idea what's happened from Eagle River here to Wasilla. So we've got some video, as you can see, from the helicopter that was shot, and things went pretty smooth, basically. No real problems. A couple of tangos that we heard of being reported along the way, but otherwise everybody seemed to make it all right. And I guess that's really reflected in the times that we have indicated to you. So really not a lot of problems, as were sort of anticipated, again, because of the warm temperatures and the rough trail conditions. There was, of course, a decision made by the Iditarod Trail Committee late in the week that they would indeed start from Anchorage. There was some consideration given to the fact that maybe they wouldn't because of ice and rough trail, due, of course, to the overflow that was caused by the warmer temperatures, the 40-degree temperatures that we had the latter part of the week. But we got out from downtown Anchorage, and hey, we did all right. We got into Eagle River without too many major problems at all. So as we said, it's a little warmer here. The sun is out, and let me put it this way, Bobby. If I'm a dog in an Iditarod team, I'm not liking this real much, am I?
Oh, I don't know. You know, there are these things called dog days, too. And they got their names appropriately, all right. I was just wondering about McGill Adams. I understand he started in shorts from downtown. I'm wondering if he's going to leave in a swim trunks from here on. If it keeps getting warmer, he might. Seems like. Actually, the dogs fared quite well. I spoke to several of the veterinarians in the holding area, and they said they were really impressed. There were very few problems with the dogs on the run out there. And, you know, my history of dogs has shown that when it's warm, they seem to do well. It's easier on their feet. It's easier on them. They tire a little bit more, but physically they do a lot better. And when they tire, they slow down. They're not dumb animals by any means. Mm-hmm. They have enough sense to understand what's happening to them, and so they'll slow the pace down a little bit, and they just compensate for this heat. As the day goes on and it gets cooler, then the dogs will start recognizing what's going on, feel better, and pick up the pace.
Well, we've talked about that Dodge Dash to Squintna, and there was some concern by the mushers that even though that's a great prize, a $15,000 truck, of course, they were not going to burn out or injure their dog team by, you know, any stretch of the imagination because of the trail conditions. Now I'm wondering, maybe these trail conditions aren't as bad as we've been hearing the last 2 days.
Yeah, I think, you know, mushers are kind of a funny lot. It seems like any kind of a rumor that could get started does get started. Everyone was talking about restarting the race, I think, except for the race officials themselves. When I spoke with Jack Niggermeyer, he had no doubt about what he was going to do. The race was going to start on time from where, and he couldn't see any change in it. So most of that was speculations and rumor mill from the mushers rather than from the race officials.
And it seems like every year we always hear stories or rumors about the trail, don't we?
That's always the case.
Rick Swenson will be going out 9th on the restart here this afternoon, and he talked a little bit about well, something that all mushers want to figure out, and that is the secret to winning the Iditarod.
Good clean run. Just need 20 good clean runs in a row. Get there first.
Rick Swenson talking about what he feels is a secret to winning this race. And Bobby, is there a secret to winning this race? I mean, you encounter so many different things out on the trail. There can't be just one simple answer to how you win an Iditarod.
Right. The secret is there is no secret. It's a matter of hard work, good luck, putting all of the scientific knowledge, all of the education that you can get about dogs, about sled runners, about runner materials, being aware of weather conditions, experience, knowledge of the terrain you're going through. All of those things combine to make a winner. And then the good dogs. It's actually, after all, a dog race. And those people that put together the really good dog teams with no weaknesses in it seem to always be up at the front.
But I thought Swenson summed it up about as good as you can get. I mean, come on, a couple of clean runs, 20 good clean runs, and you're there, right?
And you're there, yeah. That was kind of interesting. It seems almost like a little bit different philosophy for Rick, too. I think he's used to maybe making about 30 clean runs to get to know him. If he's talking about 20 clean runs, I think perhaps he's planning on some different strategy this year. It'll be interesting to see as the race unfolds.
Swenson's always contemplating new strategy, isn't he?
Joe Garney is going to go out from the restart, the 8th musher out of the block, so to speak. And Joe Garney talked about, you know, we've been talking about the warm weather. Well, we talked to Joe exactly how he feels about the warm weather himself.
Oh, it's going to be rough on them. You know, these are cold weather animals. They're a little more haired than most. They don't have no hound bred in them or nothing. But this is Alaska, you know, and it ain't going to stay warm.
Well, Joe Garney talking about the warm weather, and we have some warm weather, and right now we have a chance to go back over and talk a little with Chuck Tulsky. Chuck?
Just a quick comment about that kind of weather. I saw Bill Cotter from Nana. He was taking out some warm water, throwing in a couple of pieces of salmon, and all the dogs were drinking. They were in the shade, and it looked like they recovered very quickly from their run out to Eagle River. So you can expect these teams to get in the shade, to get a little cooler. What I wanted to show you right now is, I don't know if you could get tight enough on this for me. Okay, that sounds good. Here's Alaska Magazine, very familiar, goes all over the world. And one thing that's happening, there is an insert in there, a 16-page Iditarod program, if you will. There's also a Dodge sweepstakes going on nationwide. Someone else is going to win a truck, and they don't even have to stay sleepless for 12 days or feed dogs or booty dogs or any of that. There's a sweepstakes going on. In fact, someone already took the card out of my magazine, so they probably already sent it in. So Dodge, in a big way, being part of this race for the next 3 years as a major sponsor. So someone who's watching on the Alaska Television Network, once they go ahead and send in their card, you never know. You might wind up at the Mushers Banquet, going to the finish at Nome, and driving around in a brand new truck also. So we expect Levine Barbie here, Ken, I think, in about 7 or 8 minutes, followed by perhaps as many as 20 mushers, while we'll be on the air for the first time live with the restart in Wasilla. Back to you.
It is getting close. Make no mistake about that. Again, 3:34 is when Levine Barbie will take, or make it, yeah, 3:34 is when he will take off. That's correct. I was curious about something, Bobby, as I look out into the chute, and of course I'm seeing the same thing that that our audience is here right now. This is a downtime. This is kind of like, what, halftime, so to speak. I mean, what are these mushers doing? How are they keeping themselves ready? More importantly, how are they keeping their dogs ready?
Actually, what they're doing, this is very similar to what happens out on the trail. You run a certain amount of distance, and then it's time to put the dogs down and rest them. Most of them have brothed their dogs, fed their dogs, checked their dogs' feet, working on dogs' feet, loading their sleds, rechecking the loads in their sleds, any last-minute details that they could possibly have overlooked, and trying to relax a little bit themselves. It's their last chance to be with their handlers, their truck, their family usually, and they're saying their goodbyes and getting their last good wishes from their friends and preparing to actually take off on their own. From this point on, they're on their own on the way to Nome.
So are they able to leave anything behind if they so choose here, as far as their sled gear at all?
Right, they can leave all but their mandatory gear they can leave behind.
Okay, at any point then.
Right.
I see.
Warm weather out in Wasilla, the topic of conversation, and Bev Masick had a few things to say about the warm weather.
And welcome to the 19th running.
This warm weather, it's going to be pretty hot, I think. We just have to take it easy with the dogs. Rest them a lot and run at night when it's cool.
So make sure you smile.
Well, that really is the simplest answer, I think, and that is if it's warm, you just rest during the day and you wait for those cooler temperatures at night, but that really throws your personal clock off, doesn't it?
Right. When you're mushing the Iditarod, you're not allowed to have a personal clock. Your rest comes after the dogs and after everything else is taken care of. It's been thrown off for these mushers every year, and they're pretty well equipped to deal with that.
All right, well, we're getting close, as we said, and now we're obviously a few minutes closer. We're coming up on the 3:34 mark when Levine Barbie will get things restarted for us here from Wasilla, and we'll stand by for that. Until then, let's take a short break. We'll be back with more of our exclusive live coverage right here along the Alaska Television Network. The first man out, Levine Barbie, has been tabbed by some as a favorite to win this race this year. What do you know about his team, Bobby?
I know Levine's got an improved dog team. He told me it's definitely the best dog team he's had. Many of the same dogs from last year, those dogs that he has added to it, he said, are better than they were last year. He's had a great training year. He got a lot of attention last year by his top finish and excited the crowd. I'd hesitate to call him the favorite. After all, when Susan's won 4 of the last 5 races, it's pretty tough to not pick her as a favorite. But I'd have to say he's definitely amongst those in contention.
But we had a chance to talk with Levine, and of course last year he had another great race, fading a little bit out on the western coast before, being overtaken out there by both Runyon and Butcher. But he put it very simply. He said that there has been talk by Susan and Rick about winning this again continuously, year after year. He says, hey, he just wants to win it one time. And he's come so close. He admits he's not frustrated, but he just wants to win it one time. And I would think that because of that, there's that special effort that's got to come forth. Is he maybe a little bit more driven than some of these other drivers?
I think he might be what we know as hungry a little bit, yes.
That's a good word.
He's been on the edge a lot, and he's hungry. He's ready to be a champion and not an almost champion. He's worked hard. I don't know of anyone that works harder at this game than Levine does overall. He's also gone to school to learn those kind of things he didn't know. He told me he's learned a number of medical items and things that are helping him with his dogs this year. He's learned how to handle some minor injuries and sprains and strains that he didn't know before, and he thinks that's going to make a vast difference in his dog team. He's learned massage technique on his dogs seriously to relieve sore muscles and things that he thinks is going to improve them. And I see Levine as putting a great effort into it, and it wouldn't surprise me if he won the race.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. It's a little too early to speculate. But I'll tell you what, we have talked about the problems, the things that can go wrong on the Iditarod Trail. Malcolm Vance is a musher in this race. It hasn't even really started yet, and he's already had some problems. They occurred while he was driving his team from Shishmaref to Nome for some of the final preparations. So we'll let him tell us what happened.
Got off on the wrong, what I thought was the right trail, and took off into the wrong set of mountains, and next thing you know, I just winding my way around those mountains and was definitely lost for a few days, and by the time I found myself and where I was supposed to go, the weather came in and then just pinned me down for another 3.5, 4 days.
Well, Bobby, a very unfortunate and unique situation that Malcolm ran into.
Yes, I think he was actually quite fortunate that the weather changed and he managed to pull through it as lucky as he did. He's a little bit concerned about his dogs, but I looked at his dogs and actually they've regained the weight they lost, and I think he's going to be okay as a result.
Just one of those basic winter storms out there.
It's a tough life in the North Country.
It really is, and there are tough dogs that come out of that country.
Tough people that know how to take care of themselves and their dogs.
Well, another tough guy is Jeff King, of course, who is a former winner of the Yukon Quest. He's in the 1991 Iditarod. One of the biggest differences between the Quest and the Iditarod is the number of checkpoints. And, of course, the Iditarod has far more than the Quest does. The distances between checkpoints in the Yukon Quest are much, much longer. But it's the organization that a musher needs at checkpoints in terms of when he'll leave and how long he'll stay that are causing Jeff King just a little bit of concern. Here's what he told us.
I think some of the biggest things is the need for organization. Your checkpoint time usage is, I think, more important. I think it'd be real easy to burn a lot of time because there's so many different checkpoints compared to the Quest anyway, and I think it would be real easy to waste time there. And I think that's one of the advantages of running the race over and over, just like there's advantages I gained by running the Quest 7 years in a row. You know, in 7 years in running the Iditarod, maybe I would have developed a few contacts along the way, of which I feel totally void of at this point.
We are down to the final few minutes before the first musher begins the restart of the Iditarod sled dog race for 1991. And we'll be back with that right after this word along the Alaska Television Network. And here we are, just minutes away now from Levine Barvey beginning the restart of the Iditarod sled dog race for 1991. And we're going to go over to Chuck Telsky right now for a final comment from him. Chuck.
Hey, I've got a good vantage point here. Things are going to be really happening.
Ken, I beg your pardon. I got so many microphones here, I don't know where I'm going. But we do know that some teams are going out to Connect, and after that to Squentin and all the way to Nome. Got a good vantage point back here, and I want to tell the viewers, make sure that you stick with this race, because what's happening during this restart, you're going to see 20 teams, and you're going to see teams leaving within 30 seconds of each other, and some very big names coming up. Cleared to leave out of here, 9th is bib number 11. That's Rick Swenson. He's going for his 5th, by the way. Susan knows that also. And you'll also find a team following him out very shortly. Rick will follow Joe Garney out. So 31 seconds after Joe Garney leaves, we'll have Rick Swenson get out there. So there'll be some really, really tight teams going out, making this race very fast from the very beginning. We're going to bring it to you, and stick with us if you can, because like I said, 19 mushers at least between now and 4:30. So it's going to happen. When it happens, it'll happen very quickly. Thank you, and back to you, Ken.
Thank you, Chuck. And, you know, it takes a lot to get ready just to be able to run this Iditarod, a lot in terms of time, preparation, money. Bill Paley is one of the mushers, or Peel, I believe it is.
Peel.
Bill Peel, who is one of the mushers in the field this year. And he talked about exactly how he's managed to get it all together to run the Iditarod.
Took 3 months leave of absence. I started mushing December and finally qualified and so forth. So this is, I've climbed the canyon twice, and I wanted to see wintertime Alaska, and this is the way to do it, by crossing Alaska. So this is my dream.
Let me ask you this, Bobby. Levine Barvey going out, and as Chuck indicated, down the list you look at the mushers and just the seconds, the matter of mere seconds separating them. I've got to wonder, do you make a pass right away if you can in this situation, or how do you play it from here? If you're right on somebody's tail, so to speak, when do you make a move? Do you need to make a move this early? I mean, this is still only Wasilla.
Right, it is only Wasilla, and no, they're not so concerned about passing each other. If your team is obviously faster than the team in front of you, you're going to still wait until you have a clear, unobstructed place to pass. There's no sense in becoming tangled or wasting any kind of time next to anyone. at this point. And you also don't want to get your dogs too excited. There's 10 days of racing to go here. It's not the time. It's not like the World Championships where everything has to happen right now. There's quite a bit of time, so you want to relax yourself a little bit too.
There's been a lot of talk, Bobby, concerning this race, and a lot of mushers have said that you know, someday this might be a 10-day race. And we had a chance to talk to Dee Johnrow to see will this be the year the new record is set.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be at all surprised. You know, we had conditions like this at the Bear Grease and we set a new record.
Oh, yeah. How many teams do you suppose might beat that record?
Oh, if one does it, there'll be probably 4 or 5.
Are you one of them?
Hope so.
Television network when you get back, because we'll have that for you tomorrow. We'll let you know who is first in Swetna. We'll be there. Pat Danley will follow. Joe Runyon next. John Barron after that. A lot of you folks know Levine. He's from Wasilla. Recipient of the Most Inspirational Musher Award. Came in 3rd last year. This is his 10th race. He's a printer.
Please
he owns
keep the chute clear.
Color printing. Keep the chute clear, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Well, Levine Barbie at the line, as you can see. And we're just about ready to go. We were looking at the standings here as they're going to go out. We were talking about passing. You just touched on that, Bobby. And appropriately enough, we have determined that Martin Boozer passed 11 teams on the way here.
Right. Martin started 26th, and looks like he's going out 16th or 15th. He would have to have passed 10 or 11 teams in order to make that kind of move up there. So maybe Martin's thinking about that pickup truck, too. He also trains on these trails, trains out of Big Lake. It's his home trail.
The Dodge Dash to Squintna with a Dodge Dakota, a $15,000 truck waiting for the first musher who gets there. And it's interesting because we saw, of course, some of the footage of the race between Eagle River, or between Anchorage and Eagle River, and we said that things went well. Well, they went very well indeed for Martin Boozer.
Right, looks like he made quite a move. You know, for weeks, the mushers have been calling this truck Martin's truck because the past couple of years he's been the first team to Squintna. And they were thinking that. People were feeling maybe with his draw further back, he wouldn't have the opportunity. I see Levine Barbie's up to the starting line now. He's got 20 dogs, and he's got boots on all their feet. He's not taking any chances of possible any little wears and tears or dings on their dogs' feet. And he's almost ready to go on this show, huh?
Of course, he's had plenty of time to get those booties on.
Right, that is one of the things you are doing in your break when you're out on the trail, which is one reason why the mushers get so little rest. The dog's feet are kind of like the tires on your car, and boy, if they're bald, and then they don't do well. And it's the same with the dogs, and so there's a lot of care and attention spent on feet in this race.
Oh, we may be able to see it. Look at Levine Barbie's feet. Now, those are not exactly bunny boots. Hey, we're getting lightweight and fashionable here.
Right. These boots, you're going to see a number of them worn this year. I think there were maybe 4 or 5 that tried them last year, and all the reports came back as that it was a great outfit, a great setup. They're light. They're a little bit bulky, but they're very, very light. They don't absorb water. The water does ring out of them. They're a foam cell liner inside, and it's become quite fashionable now.
It's got to make it a lot easier for kicking, doesn't it?
Right, it really does, and a lot easier the 10,000th time you pick your foot up to pump that sled that you're not wearing an 8-pound bunny boot like we used to wear in the past.
Well, the booties on the dogs, of course, all Velcro, so it makes it a lot easier, too, to put those on and take them off. And we're down to about the final 10 seconds here for Levine Barbie as he's getting ready to start the restart.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And he is off. Levine Barbie with a passenger in the sled. And, of course, that, again, just a little extra weight. Now he's going to go to the snow hook right away here, Bobby.
Yeah, Levine appears to have a problem up there in front. His leader isn't stretching out the dog team too well. Now he's lined out and going okay. You notice the lead dog on the right there is not really stretching him out.
Now, slowing it down like that by putting the hook in tells the dog what?
Just to take it easy, slow down. Let's not get too carried away here. I think he was considering stopping there and then changed his mind.
All right, so Levine Barbie on his way, and again now, because of the fact that this race has started in terms of the times that the mushers arrived into Eagle River, it's Pat Danley who will be going out next, but she is some 10 minutes now behind Levine Barbie.
Right, she's a little over 10 minutes behind Levine, which means Levine made up 6 minutes on the run from Eagle River to from Anchorage to Eagle River on Pat Danley.
That's a good-looking dog team right now, kind of in a, can we call it an Iditarod trot?
Yeah, it's an Iditarod trot, and it's a slowed-down Iditarod trot. You see Levine has got his feet on the drag there. He's slowing them down. He doesn't want them going faster. He doesn't want to take a chance on a dog slipping and perhaps stretching a muscle a little bit too far. And he's taking it easy, being very conscious of the fact that this race has got about, from this point on, still 1,140 miles to go to the finish line.
In truth, it's really just begun.
Right, it's just begun. This is just the very first opening stages of it.
Well, what is it, 1,162, I believe, on the Southern Route this year, right?
I believe that's the figure that they came up with.
Is it a relief for the mushers to be done with the restart? I mean, obviously it's hard on the dogs in the city with all the people, and there's a lot of people out here in Wasilla today, but is it a relief as a musher to get the dogs away from the crowds?
Oh, right. Absolutely. This is the beginning of the last phase. Between here and Connect, there'll still be quite a crowd. But once they leave Connect Lake, you're away from where people can drive at all. You're out into the wilderness of Alaska, and it's you and your dogs and the trail and what the dogs are used to all season long in training. Before that, you're surrounded by things that you can't really duplicate in training. It's awfully hard to get 10,000 people to stand on your training trail for you so your dogs can get used to it. So it's new things for the dogs.
Levine Barbie is on his way. Pat Danley will be next, and we'll be right back after a short time out from our exclusive live coverage of the Iditarod Sled Dog Race Restart along the Alaska Television Network. So our first musher, Levine Barbie, having a little bit of trouble with his leader, so he slowed the team down, got it straightened out. There are a lot of leaders in an Iditarod team, aren't there, Bobby? You take several.
Right. Usually the team's as many leaders as you can get. You can't have enough leaders. It's the stressful position in a dog team. You've got a pack of dogs running right at your heels. You're responsible to the musher for turning the dog team, and you're also the accelerator, the throttle for the dog team, as well as the brake for the dog team. So it's the most stressful position. And it's nice to have several leaders that you can revolve so that they take turns and share the load in that.
Having moved here just 3 weeks ago and being relatively new to the Iditarod and sled dog racing, in all honesty, the question I have for you is, as a musher, and when you're bringing your dogs up, how do you pick your leaders? How do you decide? I mean, obviously, I guess it would be like how you decide who your captain is on a basketball team. But within a dog, it's not like they can tell you, "I want to be the leader." How do you figure that out?
You give them the opportunity to show you what they can do and what they want to do. And usually those dogs that are leaders just kind of come to the front. They're the kind of dogs that want to please you. They work their way up towards the front of the team. And then just, it's repetition. The opportunity to perform, the opportunity to make mistakes, knowing that if the dog isn't trained yet, you don't blame him for it. And those kind of dogs that want to please you are the ones that seems like they always come up to the front.
I like that. The ones that want to please you, they know what their job is, don't they?
Absolutely. And some dogs more than others. All of them love to run. They love to run. It just seems to be naturally bred into them. You see the dog teams hooking up. It takes hordes of people to hold the sled down. You have to have huge ropes tied to trees.
Well, that, of course, is proven by the shot that we just saw of the dogs jumping and yapping and ready to go. I've got to ask you this. I've always wondered about this, okay? I can understand the dog's excitement because, as you said, it's their nature to want to run. If those dogs knew that they were going to go 1,100 miles. If I could walk up to one of them and say, "Why are you so excited? You've got 1,100 miles to run," would they still be as excited?
Well, it depends on the dogs. Someone would say, "Oh, no, wait a minute, I didn't realize that. I think I'll get out here." But many of them would say, 1,100 miles, no problem. I'm just getting warmed up when I get there.
That's all right. That's all right. Pat Danley coming up to the line, and again, her time into Eagle River was at 11:44:50 this morning. So add 4 hours to that, and she is able to leave at 3:44:50 here this afternoon. And of course, in case you don't know, and maybe we should clarify this might be good information. What they do is they mush from Anchorage to Eagle River, which is technically the first checkpoint along the way. Well, second, of course, if you want to include Anchorage. And then what they have to do is they have to put the dogs into the truck and drive out here to Wasilla. And that's because?
Well, that's because the rivers don't freeze. The Knik River remains open, and there's no safe way to get across the Knik River, short of going up the river perhaps 100 miles, and that's just out of the question.
All right, so, of course, Anchorage used as the ceremonial start so that it can be an Anchorage to Nome race, but we just have to, well, depend on a couple of trucks, that's all.
Right. This seems to work.
It works well, doesn't it? Pat Danley, and she has 2 dogs up front in her lead position. We were noticing, well, Levine did too, but we were noticing that some of the teams, when they left downtown, only had a single leader. But a good-looking team, and of course, they are allowed 20, as Bobby told us earlier this morning.